Hey, hi, how are you? Roles and responsibilities in a safety management system. It's a question that gets asked. Actually, there's lots of questions that get asked. Uh, what are they? Do we need them? Why do we have to have them? Where do we put them?
Well, it's part of my job description, but
Yeah, they should maybe be in your job description. Maybe they should be in policy. Maybe they should be actually in the program documents. You know what? I'm going to answer all of these questions. I'm going to talk about some problems and some solutions and where you should be putting those roles and responsibilities. So let's jump into it, okay? So the very first thing is, what are roles and responsibilities? You know what? A lot of times people confuse responsibilities with obligations. They are two different things. First off, a role itself is a function. It's filled by a person in the organization. So CEO is a role. Manager is a role. Upper management is a role, or director is a role. But how do these roles fit in to the safety management system? You have to understand, a role could be a single person or a group. Your safety management system could refer to the roles played by managers or the roles played by directors or supervisors. So it's pretty important to understand that a role can not just be one person, but it can also be a group of people. The other thing a lot of people will confuse is responsibility. It's actually being accountable for a duty or task carried out by a role. So a manager will have certain responsibilities. Like I said, don't confuse them with obligations. An obligation is that requirement under the law or under some other ethical or moral code. So that's an obligation. So if you want to think about it, you can look at it this way. A responsibility or responsibilities are a checklist to make sure that you fulfill obligations. Now, well-functioning health and safety management systems need to define both the roles and the responsibilities. Without it, well, you just descend into chaos. Why we need them? Well, I already talked about one thing, but it does satisfy legal obligations because under the law, say for instance in Alberta here where I live, employers have a legal obligation to ensure the health and safety of every worker under their authority and other persons at the job site or at the work site. So that's an obligation. So you need to have roles and responsibilities so that we can satisfy those legal obligations. It also provides continuity to your system because if we don't, we have people stepping on each other's toes or somebody else thinking, well, he's got that or she's got that, and it's not the case. So you have to make sure that roles and responsibilities are defined so that you can ensure continuity of your health and safety management system. It maintains integrity through accountability because if we're not defining roles and we're not defining responsibilities, then there is no accountability. And it promotes a healthy health and safety culture. Because if the roles are defined and responsibilities are defined from the top down or from the bottom up, it helps to maintain that good safety culture because, how should we say in a better way, it defines the internal responsibility system where everybody has, depending on their level of accountability and responsibility, some role to play in health and safety.
Comments, anyone? Anybody?
There you go. Who does what? How do we define those roles and responsibilities? And realistically, you're going to find that the higher up in the hierarchy you go, the number of things that are required to be done are less. They might only be 2 bullet points or 3 bullet points in a description, in a role and responsibility description, because they're going to be more overarching statements. So the C-suite, the CFO, the CEO, the CIO, COO, all of those C people are going to have very overarching duties or very overarching responsibilities within the health and safety management system. The further down you go, the more granular they get with a lower level of responsibility and accountability. Management is often going to be described as budgetary and aligning resources, whereas the C-suite are going to be responsible for providing those resources. Management budgets and aligns for those resources. supervisors ensure that the procedures are being executed and compliance is occurring, and they're taking care of the workers under their supervision. And of course, workers are going to be carrying out those tasks that they have to do. And what I mean is by that, it gets a lot more granular when you get down to the worker level. One of the problems we have with roles and responsibilities is they're in too many places under different control or authority. Now, what I mean by that is this. A lot of times people insist, especially if you have legal beagles working for you, etc., is that they be under the control of the policymakers. But then you're under their timeframes. So if there is changes in legislation or changes in operation and you have to redesign, review, edit, revise roles and responsibilities, you're at their mercy.
Oh, that certainly would suck.
Now, there's another problem yet, too, is HR and job descriptions. Sometimes job descriptions don't change until there's a hiring, there's attrition, there's shifting of jobs, etc. So a lot of times what happens is your safety program can get moved and aligned and changed around, revised, but the roles and responsibilities, because they're under somebody else's authority, say HR.
Man, someone doesn't like HR.
They become outdated. And the last thing you want is not to have that agility necessary. So it ends up that there's no awareness, no agility, because if you've had somebody on the job for 10 years, yes, they know their job, but chances are their job has evolved, their job description hasn't. Okay, so there you are. You're stuck with that same process. You have roles and responsibilities from when they got hired a decade ago, but their job has changed. The job description hasn't. So where's the solution? Have I got a solution for you? It should be in your safety program. Your health and safety management system is the systems in your organization. It's the human resources management systems. It's the operations systems. It's the payroll systems, the finance systems, and operations, and everything working together with an interlocking of safety. That's your health and safety management system, that interoperability between the different systems to look after safety. But within your safety program document, your master document, that's where you should have the roles and responsibilities defined. So that way you have some agility. You can change things as you need, as the market defines it, as legislation defines it, as you have more agility and ability to change. Your program can be revised without having to consult policy. It can be revised without having to consult HR. Realistically, you can revise it if you need to align corporately with the legislation or just to address market demands and make you more agile in the business world. There's no need to wait for other groups, except for one. I'll get to that. Just hang with me for just a sec. So, like I said, once again, it gives you that agility, but here's the big one. It promotes safety program awareness, because if you're driving people to your program, then they're more aware of your health and safety management system defined within your program.
Questions? Comments?
They understand their roles and responsibilities as per the program because they're going to your program. Yeah, there's always a but.
Oh, Kevin.
You still need to cooperate and collaborate. Okay? You don't go and define what the CEO or the CFO does. You make sure that there's consultation and a process beyond that. You may have to compromise. You may have to make some allowances, work with policy people, work with HR people. But if you work to keep your roles and responsibilities within your safety program, it is a lot easier to work with. But you have to remember, you cannot do it yourself. And you cannot do it without consultation. You need to work with a group. And you know who I'm going to talk about right next. You need to work with your health and safety committee. That's it in a nutshell. You need to work with your health and safety committee, because if you're not, you know what? You're, once again, doing it on your own, doing it by yourself. You need to work with your health and safety committee because it's made up of management from different departments. It's made up of workers from different departments. And once again, you can have a bottom-up and top-down process but you work with that consultation. And a lot of times managers and senior managers can go back to their supervisors and get that input.
Does anyone wish to comment on this video?
Stick with your health and safety committee, get their input and get their help. No two ways about it. They're it's the best way to go. Okay, there is no two ways about it. Now, I want you to do me a favor. This video is coming out in a long weekend. I want you to do me a favor though. Watch it, of course, but have some fun and enjoy yourself. Now, this is all part of program design and policy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you just a couple of links up in either corner. One is going to be, the one up here is going to be on policy design and writing health and safety policy. And the other one is going to be on health and safety programs. So I want you to do me a favor though. Until we see each other again, don't just think about safety. Don't just talk about safety, but provoke safety. Be a safety influencer wherever you are. Okay? Take care. Bye for now.